We've all seen the mad woke takeover of the past 10 years. All of a sudden, you can't be racist to whites, and seemingly white people must pay penance. We can have black only theatre shows now, too, which previously racial segregation was seen as bad. Also, women can have penises, men can get pregnant. Islam is always the religion of peace, the rest of the religions apparently not so much. And it begs the question, how did we end up here? Well, essentially, many years ago, there was a turn from a few Marxist intellectuals from a focus on economics towards culture. The famous Frankfurt School, a lot of people who were expelled from Germany, moved to the US and found that Stalinism wasn't actually working. So instead of focusing on economic oppression, class-based oppression, they started focusing on culture. This led to the famous phrase cultural Marxism, which seems to drive liberals absolutely fierce. But it didn't just end there. That movement inspired the British cultural studies movement, started in Birmingham, led by people such as Stuart Hall, and that led to much of the post-colonialism and postmodernism we're used to today. Simultaneously, you had French thinkers like Michel Foucault cropping up. He made a complete perversion of the nature of discipline in the traditional world and tried to deconstruct it. But it won't surprise you to know he was a massive pervert himself. There's recent claims come out that he had a penchant for boys and was heavily involved in sadomasochism. No surprise he's one of the intellectual heroes of the modern liberal woke movement then. Now some of you may already be aware of this, but what's never really mentioned in this is how did these thinkers get in the first place? Well, the reason for this is that many thinkers such as René Guénon and Oswald Spengler, long before the Frankfurt School, had figured out that we'd moved away from the central tradition of the Western world. These thinkers knew that after this, chaos would ensue, a chaos that the liberal world called a freedom. But as Oswald Spengler pointed out, formerly no one was allowed to think freely. Now it is permitted, but no one is capable of it anymore. Now people want to think only what they are supposed to think, and this they consider freedom. A very prescient quote when you look at the present Western mainstream, especially young people. They are completely uniform in their beliefs and values. And what these normies have failed to realise is there's a sleight of hand at the core of all of this. We always had the movements for women liberation, black liberation, gay rights, etc. But it was the woke ideology that supplanted itself upon these and made itself out to be a unified struggle against the central order. Effectively what they've done is turn young people against their own culture, against their own peoples, against their own selves. The problem at the heart of this is actually quite simple. The heart of our tradition was much more wise than we give it credit for. It allowed for a deep understanding of nature and nurture, whereas the woke worldview only takes into account nurture. What I mean by this is Christianity will state that everyone has true equality in the spirit, in the being of God. However, in our external lives, there are differences that we have to be aware of, such as that between male and female. However, in the woke worldview, there is no spirit, there is no nature, there is only conditioning and nurture. They believe everybody is just a blank slate. There is no difference between man and woman. These are only socially defined, they believe. Now, presently, this ideology rules our society. So every time the mainstream sees inequality, they never think that these might be innate. They constantly think these are socially derived, and henceforth there must be swift and sharp action from the states to enforce equality. Yet as you've probably noticed by now, they've been trying this for 50, 60 years and they still haven't found this total equality because it's impossible to find. However, admitting that would lead to the crumbling of the whole woke system itself. So we now seem in a race to the bottom, to total chaos, till the real truth can show itself again. Now, I would say the traditions of the West are rooted in Christianity and Jesus Christ, which is in love, but they'll tell you that if you live by that you believe in hate. Yet such is the backwards nature of the modern world and the confusion that we're in this day and age. Yet the heart of the West, what made the West great in the first place, won't be able to be destroyed so easily, and we're going to have to find out the hard way that we need to root ourselves in this truth if we're to stand a chance in the future.